There's nothing like Russian dashcam videos. They're usually next level crazy. This video clip is no different. A red Volkswagen is seen cutting off the driver with the dashcam and another car in front of him. So when they reach a red light, the driver decides to rev his engine and pass the Volkswagen. Big mistake. After they pass him, the Volkswagen speeds up again to pull around the driver and cuts him off, blocking his way forward. Then a man dressed in black gets out of his vehicle to confront the dashcam driver. After a very brief exchange of pleasantries, the Volkswagen owner opens the trunk of his vehicle and reaches for a golf club. Apparently, the faintest confrontation in Russia on the road can lead to brutal results, of your vehicle at least. Things have been known to quickly escalate on the Russian roads. These two unidentified flying object sightings are eerily similar. Posted on Reddit by GamersGen, these two sightings from Miami and Beijing are comparative. The first appeared in Beijing on February 3, 1995. The unidentified flying object hovers as an illuminated yellow disc in the evening sky. After a while, it starts to glide slowly overhead. GamersGen posts a second video in the comments, one which looks similar to the first but was captured on October 20th, 1995. This unidentified flying object was spotted along a freeway. The driver pulled over to capture it hovering near an apartment complex and then over Miami Airport. GamersGen suggests that today, unidentified flying objects aren't seen as often for a reason. His theory? They have become more cautious, and further said, they seem to be extremely aware of us observing them, and above all, they don't want to be compromised. What do you think? It makes sense to me, and these two sightings are certainly quite similar. Built around 1635, the Pithertsy Castle is said to be one of the most haunted places in Ukraine. Take a look at some of the best paranormal evidence ever taken out of the creepy castle.
Andriana! Andriana!
A ghostly figure appears in the window and waves at them before mysteriously disappearing. It's not a reflection of clouds because of how quick it fades in and out. The person filming calls out the name Adriana, who I think was the name of one of the king's many wives hundreds of years ago, and whose life was possibly taken by him. Or it's just good editing. Hard to say. This place is said to be absolutely flooded with supernatural forces, so who knows? At 3:15 p.m. on February the 9th, 2004, a woman named Maura Murray withdrew $280 from an ATM. She looked serious, even frowning perhaps, or maybe I'm looking too deeply into it. Either way, this is the last recorded appearance before she disappeared in a way that's never been explained. 4 hours after this video was taken, multiple witnesses saw Maura Murray on the side of the road with a broken down car. A school bus driver pulled over to help out, but she told him that she had already called AAA, even though phone records later revealed that she hadn't, and so he left her alone, but not before reporting the bizarre experience to the police himself. When the cops arrived 20 minutes later, they found some of her personal belongings were in the car, but missing were her credit cards and cell phone. Maura Murray herself was nowhere to be found. For some strange reason, she simply wandered away from her vehicle after it broke down. None of her credit cards were ever used, and her cell phone was not used either, which probably means she didn't make it very far, and yet her body was never found. Police think she might have been planning to take her own life, but if she was planning to do this, then she would obviously have no use for money, so why would she need to take out almost $300 beforehand? Maura appears to be alone in the ATM video, so it's likely nobody is making her do any of this. The police have never been able to figure out her motives or if she's still alive. Maura called out of work that day and wrote she was having relationship problems with her boyfriend, but whether this was of her own free will or if someone was making her do this to cover their tracks remains to be determined, and quite possibly never will be properly explained. Nothing else happened for almost 12 years until a rather sinister video was uploaded on YouTube. This video, titled "Where I Put Maura," shows an empty barn in the middle of the woods. A man is laughing over a picture of Maura Murray, but we never do get to see what they look like. Nobody has been able to identify where this barn is or who uploaded this video. It could be a false lead or her actual final resting place. We'll never know for sure, and police, for whatever reason, apparently have stopped trying to find out. These scary stories sound made up until you see the video evidence that goes with it. That's when these scary moments become all too real. When you enter an abandoned building, you don't expect to find a fully functioning service room inside, but that's what YouTuber Shai found in February of 2018. The footage begins at the top of a tower in an industrial-looking area. He then enters a building. The place is obviously abandoned, with no soul in sight, an empty auditorium, a lonely ping pong table, and then descending to the cold, dark basement, which is where he finds the service room in question. Picking up the phone, although he doesn't hear a dial tone, he does receive the tone indicating the phone has been disconnected. Also inside are loads of hardware and servers, blinking lights flashing and all. Next, he happens upon an old computer, which he plugs in. Pushing the button on the tower, the modem turns on. Windows 95 appears, then a black screen with code. A username password screen appears. After attempting to enter something, Shai is told by his live streamers to hit cancel, which he does. He is then allowed to enter. After exploring the computer's contents for a bit, Shai decides to unplug the computer and gets out of there, muttering about a potential secret government project. Was Shai on the right track? Did he just tap into something top secret? I guess we will never know what were on those computers, unless Shai decides to go back and investigate further. Come Out and Play, posted in January of 2014. This poltergeist knows how to have fun. A group of friends are hanging out along a city river at night. As the cameraman scans the area, one of the girls spots it first, a swing swaying back and forth rather forcefully on its own. The night is still, the wind's barely moving the leaves in the trees, and yet this swing is moving with energy. As Lex Cotton writes in the comments, the thing is moving too fast to be pulled by strings or the wind. Who then is moving it? And do you want to play? I sure wouldn't, because it looks like this is the work of a nefarious ghost. Bryn is ready to take a hike through the infamous Aokigahara forest in Mount Fuji, Japan. It isn't long before he finds a dark and foreboding entrance. He's not very far inside when he comes across an abandoned bike. Laying on the seat is the open packaging for a kitchen knife. Sadly, it is clear that this person came here with one clear purpose. A short while later, he comes across a bag that is empty except for a note. He tries to read the Japanese writing and comes up short.
It says 1211. I can't quite make out. I think this is somebody's name just here. And I'm not sure what this means.
If you can read the message, then please share what it says with me so that we'll know once and for all. As soon as he's finished reading, a crow caws directly overhead.
Later.
It's an ominous sign for sure, so Bryn decides to get out of there before anything bad happens. There's a demon in the cellar in this video from Dark Ghost Paranormal. As Dennis is peering into a stone storage cellar, he first hears its moan. Back in the house, some terrifying sounds start to reverberate through his radio. And then Dennis is confronted by something unseen. After that terrifying instance, this happens. Then whole pieces of furniture start to move. And it doesn't stop there. After Dennis tries to get out of there, he goes to pick up something off the ground. That's when all heck breaks loose. Later, Dennis leaves an infrared camera inside the house and heads outside. This is what he captures. Then this happens. You can literally see the demon on camera moving the crib and then breaking the wardrobe doors. What is this evil? All I know is, it's not something I'd want to encounter face to face. Malu Trevaho challenges Bloody Mary to appear on her very own live Instagram feed by spinning 3 times while reciting her name into a mirror. It doesn't work and she disappointedly decides to go do something else. After a while, she starts to smile and giggle, and then she stares lifelessly without saying a thing. Is she acting here, or did Bloody Mary really take over? Watch how she acts when she finally comes to, and tell me if you believe in the legend of Bloody Mary. If you think that she has some kind of problem that needs to be checked out, or if this was just a performance.
Oh my god! What happened?
Have you ever ridden your dirt bike through the forest and wondered what you might encounter amongst the trees? You were probably thinking animals, but the dirt bikers in this video met someone they hadn't anticipated. Published by YouTuber Brappers in January of 2015, the footage shows 2 dirt bikers stopping on the side of a dirt road in the forest. Suddenly, a white car rounds the corner at top speed and slides to a stop. A man gets out and, for some reason, one of the dirt bikers rushes over to confront him. They start a confrontation as the other dirt biker rides away up the hill. Then, for reasons unknown, he turns around again and rides back to the confrontation to join in. His biker friend is on the ground, and he is then attacked by the man, who they claim is the owner of this here forest. The video cuts out after that. The uploader wrote that the man didn't stop, but it's unclear what happened in the end. If there were injuries or if they just got away without any more trouble, we'll never know. Urban exploration videos in abandoned places are perfect settings for ghost investigators to explore, but sometimes they find more paranormal activity than they are ready for, and that's when their paranormal investigation becomes mysterious, unexplained, and most of all, really creepy. This YouTuber is exploring an abandoned building when they hear some potentially paranormal poltergeist activity coming from upstairs.
These are all the stacked bathrooms.
Here's a diver.
Alright, copy. I'm throwing this in the toilet.
As they slowly climb the steps, the first thing they notice is how much darker it is up here. The last thing they notice is the poltergeist that comes straight at them and then disappears.
We should definitely go one at a time, dude.
Absolutely nothing is there at 1 minute and 24 seconds, and then you see its head, and then something out of my nightmares is dragging itself across the floor. Dennis of Dark Ghost Paranormal is at his breaking point in this scary video. Published in March of 2022, Dennis encounters the most terrible demon in this haunted abode. Dennis conducts an EGF session with a horned skull facing a mirror. It tells him, "You let him out." After asking what he should do, the skull requests a ritual. He's told to burn it and take it to the swamp. Otherwise, the demon will follow him. He is also told that the demon is here. Dennis creeps around the house searching. He doesn't need to look far. Dennis is later dragged across the room by his heel. After regaining his feet, he calmly takes in the entire disaster zone. Then an object under a big draping robe moves toward him. Is this the demon? He'd better get to that ritual. I have a feeling there is worse to come. A YouTuber named Maximus and his friends are playing with a Ouija board in the shed. At first, they can't stop goofing around for long enough to take it seriously, but as time goes on, they start to concentrate more on the board and less on making jokes.
Are you there?
Maybe lift your arms up.
Why?
Cause it.
What?
Yo, what?
No, that was you. Is that not you? No.
They laugh wildly to cover up the mounting tension as they realize a ghost might actually be near. Unlike most of the videos, nothing happens for a long time, and the pointer stays completely still. They go back to making sarcastic jokes until another event gives them pause.
Are you standing next to Frank Tilton?
Are you Frank Tilton?
When was he born?
Stop playing. Stop.
Oh my god, no way! That actually fell!
They are still acting like they don't care very much, but they decide to leave the shed just in case something is watching them. There's something about this video and their excitedly skeptical reactions that seems very genuine to me. This video was harder to find than a PS5 before a school teacher in Swinton, Louisiana apparently leaked this creepy CCTV video of an alleged ghost sighting at 3:30 a.m. The video shows a spectral pair of eyes floating in midair shortly after the alarm system goes off. I want to know whether or not this ghost sighting could actually be a cobweb up close. With that said, the reason this video is so creepy is because this school has an advanced infrared security system. I don't think a spider web would be enough to set it off, but maybe some security camera experts can chime in and let us know. A YouTuber named David Rebordeo hears noises coming from an attic and decides to go up and investigate for himself. Here you can see they are both far away from the source of the noise, and they're not pretending to hear something. David videos the upstairs for a while and doesn't come across much. He passes the camera and starts to climb down the ladder. All of a sudden, the equipment makes a buzzing sound not found in any other part of the video. That's when the noisemaker reveals itself and nearly makes physical contact. It's hard to say if this was a person or some sort of ghostly ghoul. The buzzing noise makes me think that this was a paranormal disturbance, but I guess this could have been CGI, so let me know what you think it was. A YouTuber named JMX decides to push himself to his absolute limits by taking one of the most extreme YouTube challenges yet.
What are we going to be doing? We're going to be not drinking water for 48 hours.
To be clear, this challenge includes not just abstaining from liquids, but also from any food products with water in them as well. Things are going okay at first, but after about 20 hours into the challenge, his thirst starts to get the better of him. JMX's voice becomes scratchy and his lips grow white and chapped. He said he feels confused and not like himself at all, and there are still more than 24 hours to go.
4 hours to go till we're halfway, so we're 20 hours down, and yeah, still kind of feel like, to be honest, I want to drink so bad.
By the second day, he comes down with a bad cold and feels completely terrible. He does not look or sound like the same person we saw at the beginning of the video. Watch this part and tell me if you agree.
Okay, we're about 3 hours away now. I honestly just want to drink something.
By hour 46, he feels like he might be in serious trouble, but he refuses to give up this far in. A friend makes him book a doctor's appointment, and JMX tries to finish the last 2 hours of the challenge under medical supervision. The doctors eventually force him to take in fluids through a needle before the 48 hours are up. JMX thinks that being given fluids through a needle does not count as breaking the challenge. Either way, I'm glad he experienced no long-lasting effects from this experiment. During a thunderstorm over Barcelona, an unidentified flying object popped in for a visit. Shared by Redditor Little Space Moshi, this large, unidentified flying object left its blinkers on. The unidentified flying object appears unmoved by the lightning. The large saucer just hovers there, leaving many concerned, but don't be alarmed. While it may be fake, I think that a CGI artist should earn an Oscar for this one. Would you be able to sleep after seeing this? Posted to the Paranormal Evidence subreddit by cardiologist Wary 306, this short clip was captured at 2:30 in the morning. The mysterious footage shows a semi-transparent figure walking from one wall of the room into what appears to be a bookcase, where it disappears. The figure looks obscure at first but grows in visibility before completing its vanishing act. The Redditor says that around 3 a.m. they often hear a conversation between a woman and a man in the bathroom. They've seen shadow people in the home, things being thrown across the room, lights have shut off, whispers in the ear. All in all, a heavy atmosphere. The activity is too much to bear. And here's yet more of it. Many in the comments believe it's a spirit manifesting. Do you believe that's the case? Ghost hunters Bro Sham and iStudio team up for one of the scariest paranormal explorations in Indonesia. This time they're exploring a haunted hospital that gives them chills, literally.
So di depan saya memang hutan belukar.
He senses a drop in temperature. The camera goes out of focus. A shadow stretches out to him and then goes away. When he looks over, it's nowhere to be found. They spend a long time exploring the courtyard for more paranormal activity, but get no further signs. Inside, the hospital is being taken back by the rainforest one room at a time, but plenty of the place remains haunted.
Assalamualaikum.
The voice is coming from a room that has a drawing of a witch-like head on the wall. There's no other drawings anywhere else in the hospital, just here. Whatever drew this knew what was in here. As they leave this haunted place, they find this figure upright in the forest, face and body wrapped up in a single cloth, not making a single sound. I don't know if it's a ghost or one of them pretending to be a spirit, but it's creepy and they get out of there without getting any closer. Elliot Mosqueda has a motion sensor cam in his living room that at first glance appears to go off for no reason. Look at the television though to see someone crossing the room. I can see the black reflection of this square poster in the television. So it definitely really was the same background. The question is if it's real or edited. The Old South Pittsburgh Hospital in Tennessee is one of the most haunted hospitals on Earth. So much so that it's been officially designated as a paranormal research center on Google. Almost everyone that goes there has a paranormal experience. Take a YouTube channel called Lost Souls Paranormal for example. One of the few research teams brave enough to go exploring the haunted hospital's basement. An investigator named Bailey splits from the group, and this is what he records underground. Running footsteps are coming from all directions, and are possibly even in the same room that he is. Suddenly, the idea of ghost hunting isn't as fun as it was 5 minutes ago, and so he doesn't go any further. This is enough paranormal evidence to convince me, but let me know if you think it was his friends making the noise. Years prior, another paranormal investigator named L.W. Drums was close to the same spot of the hospital and experienced strange ghost activity as well.
Come on now, you're being really boring with us.
The voice of somebody who isn't there mocks the investigator with an exaggerated sigh, and a shadow appears at around this time too.
Come on now, you're being really boring with us. Something just touched my head. Ooh.
Something jabs him from behind. When he turns around, the mysterious camera goes out of focus like something is right up on the lens, and I don't know if this is a third member of the team, but at 29 seconds a mysterious figure is definitely just sitting on the other side of the room staring at them. Smoke wafted through the Yellow Line train on January 12, 2015. While it filled the train, commuters waited over 35 minutes for help to escape. The cause is believed to have been an electrical issue in the tunnel. When the issue occurred, it forced commuters on the platform to evacuate. That's when train 302 pulled towards the platform and took off again. But it was so thick the train operator was blinded. He pulled to a stop in the tunnel. The train's fans were pulling smoke inside, and firefighters were only dispatched when they received a 911 call about 7 minutes later. Meanwhile, the passengers on the train could barely breathe and many got down on the floor. In the raw video of the train, you can see just how bad it is inside the wagon, and you can hear people cough, while most lie or squat on the floor. Over the intercom, they are told to remain calm and not to open the doors. Some called 911 to describe where the train was located so that rescuers could be sent down. Out of the 380 people who were evacuated from the train, 86 were treated, 9 were treated outside the station, and 1 passed away. Okay, this video is bizarre and just plain really weird. A kid on YouTube named Nature the Bee is making a random video about his cat. Little did he know that he caught a mysterious figure on camera.
And that's the end of the first trailer. I hope you enjoyed.
Creeping around the house is a strange, ghostly apparition. It was not part of the skit he was doing at all and really has no place being there. Plus, the way it looks from behind the corner is beyond creepy. You can see some more scary stuff when you zoom in, like a freaky frowning face that the uploader thinks could be a ghost or a demon sighting caught on video. I think this video could be edited, but if not, then I'd say his house is definitely haunted by something paranormal. A YouTuber named Dan Baines is the keeper of Mr. Fritz, a ventriloquist dummy that was once used to entertain the troops during the 1940s. He's very old and has since fallen apart to the point where all that remains is his disembodied head. Mr. Fritz is believed to be possessed by the spirit of his creator, a man who lost his life in battle and refuses to rest in peace. Lately, Dan has been seeing and hearing things all around the antique, so he sets up a camera to record. It's 3:30 in the morning when the glass door pops open. I don't see a string. Do you? This happens again at around the same time the next night, except this time his eyes open. String or no string, watch this part and tell me how a wooden ventriloquist dummy can open its eyes with no one nearby. And if you zoom in for a closer look, you'll see two orbs race by shortly after the case opens. I'm not saying that this video is impossible to fake, but unless this is an electronic prop that is being controlled with a remote, then I don't see how it can be done. Gary Reed Unfrequented World is the name of a YouTube channel that, at first glance, seems chock full of ordinary outdoor vlogs and entertainment. Gary goes on photography and metal detecting excursions, and generally enjoys hiking his large property in the northern Ontario wilderness, often accompanied by his loving family. But something threatens the tranquility of Gary Reed's Unfrequented World, a screaming cryptid deep in the woods that can twist trees in its powerful grasp. But more on that in a second. First, let me talk about Gary and why his observations matter more than the average YouTuber. Born in the small Ontario town of Redbridge, Gary Reed has been surrounded by woods his whole life. Aside from a lifetime of first-hand experience exploring the local lands, he also has a degree in environmental science and understands his surroundings on an advanced biological level. So when he says there is something out there that he can't explain, it probably means you or I can't either. His first encounter with it was at the age of 18 while staying in a cabin on Rabbit Lake, October 19th, 1994. That's when he heard a scream that sounded like a woman, but not quite. He describes the second scream as a wail, crescendoing into a howl, like nothing he's heard before. It ran through the entire camp, screaming from one side to the other, then it was gone. On April 30th, 2020, he heard it again.
That sucks. Can hear screaming.
It sounds almost human, but not quite.
This thing is still going on over here.
Here it is again with the audio turned up. I know foxes can make some weird noises, but this sounds like a person enraged. Camera in hand, he sneaks quietly towards the direction of the screaming to see what he can find. His trained eye detects a strange break in this tree, along with other trees that have been toppled over, all of them facing the same direction, like someone was running fast through the forest.
There's one there.
And next to the strange scene is a braided bunch that looks like something strong twisted it into this shape. Let me know if there is any other way for these branches to fuse together, if not by sheer force. The deeper he goes, the more it looks like something large has stomped through. Oddest of all are these large tracks left by what he suspects is a cryptid that walks upright.
Not mine.
It's clear to me that these are not your average boots.
Like toe prints in here. You can almost see the toes.
At 10 minutes and 25 seconds, he tries to trace an outline of its toes, but I think he's a little off. Here's where they begin in my opinion, much bigger. The next day he measured the results, and it reminds me of a certain cryptid with particularly big feet. I'm sure you know who I mean.
13¼ inches.
I think it's real, but just to throw out a counterpoint, I will say that rain from the day before could have eroded the snow and could have made an otherwise normal footstep seem much larger. Now let's switch over to some trail cams set up by Gary. This evidence, taken exactly a month earlier on March 3rd, is the most compelling of all. On March 7th, 4 days later, he and his neighbor hear another scream so shrill, it sounds like it belongs to a child. He hurries out the door and finds himself alone and vulnerable in the pitch black night.
I gotta turn the dish back on. I can hear whistling.
A pair of animal eyes look at him from behind, but I think it might just be the light reflecting off his glasses back into the camera. But I could be wrong, because when they check around the same area the next day, his dog becomes agitated and seems not to want to proceed any further. Something is definitely up ahead. Maybe they are getting close on its trail. Not that its trail is especially hard to find when it leaves a path of giant bent trees in its wake. Could nature have done this? Probably not. It looks like something huge reached up and pulled it down.
That's a pretty big one.
And half a minute later, he finds this tree with a branch literally twisted off and set back in place. This doesn't look like a normal break to me because the tree looks rather healthy.
It's about 8 feet. And it's got a good twist to it.
Here's another perfectly healthy tree with green leaves, this time ripped in half by something strong, or maybe simply struck by lightning. Either way, that doesn't explain what animal is responsible for doing this.
You can see the bark and you can actually see lines. Well, those are tooth marks. See all those little lines are tooth marks.
I don't know what it is, but I know that anything that shreds trees while screaming is too dangerous for me to be in the same forest as. And that's only what's been going on for the past couple months. There's over a year's worth of cryptid content to uncover, so I encourage you to watch Gary Reed Unfrequented World and see for yourself. In the meantime, leave me your best guess as to what's doing this. Maybe we can crack one of the weirdest modern unsolved mysteries in all of Ontario. Turn the volume up on this one. Posted to the Haunted subreddit. Work at Home Freak 99 writes, I live alone and this is a motion or light activated camera. That's me just turning off the light and heading off to bed. Now listen. A loud gravelly voice says either help, go, or come. Depending on which Redditor you ask. Personally, I hear the word help in a sort of Yelp fashion. The OP writes, if I had heard that voice, I would have flipped out. They also say the sound came from the kitchen where the camera is set up, because creepy stuff happens there sometimes. Many are saying the voice is creepy AF and sounds like the Cookie Monster. Regardless, this Redditor should probably try their luck with one of the options currently on the board before this monster takes matters into its own hands. This grainy video, taken in a dark room just outside of the kitchen, shows a children's toy suddenly glide forward on its own without warning. The quality of the video is not very good, but then again it was taken in 2010 and seems about right for camera phones of that time. As for why the camera was set up in that spot to begin with, I'm not sure. Maybe they have been experiencing paranormal activity in this area of the house and wanted to record it for proof. Either way, there's still enough light spilling in from the kitchen to show a string on the ground if there was one. I can't see one, and therefore I think there's a strong possibility that this video could be absolutely real. Let's head to a natural pool in Hawaii, officially called the Queen's Bath and unofficially called the Pool of Death. This natural pool is deceiving. The pool is ringed with rocks on 3 sides and water on the 4th. 1 minute it appears to be a calm, peaceful swimming hole where amateur swimmers can enjoy a harmless swim. The next, you realize the Queen's Bath is actually a tidal sinkhole in which terrifyingly violent waves churn sporadically to pull swimmers under. In this clip, 3 daredevils decide to tempt their fates in the Pool of Death, with 2 of them jumping in a flip dive off the rock into the relatively calm waters. Once the swimmers are out of death's grasp, gathering their bearings, they learn the pool is not finished with them. The swelling water soon steals them into its depths again, and their friend launches in after them. The foaming sea thrashes inside the pool, while the men try to stay above board so that they don't drown. As they struggle to do so, they attempt to keep closer to each other, but the deadly pool is not having it. It tosses them around like they're 3 pieces of clothing in a washing machine.
You gotta be kidding me!
Just when you think that they may be goners, the water levels calm again, and the daredevils no longer wish to test their fates as they climb out of the pool of death as fast as they can, although they escaped the deadly grip this time. If they chose to swim in Queen's Bath again, they may not be so lucky. A YouTuber named JMX decides to push himself to his absolute limits by taking one of the most extreme YouTube challenges yet.
What are we going to be doing? We're going to be not drinking water for 48 hours.
To be clear, this challenge includes not just abstaining from liquids, but also from any food products with water in them as well. Things are going okay at first, but after about 20 hours into the challenge, his thirst starts to get the better of him. JMX's voice becomes scratchy and his lips grow white and chapped. He said he feels confused and not like himself at all, and there are still more than 24 hours to go.
4 hours to go till we're halfway, so we're 20 hours down, and yeah, still kind of feel like, to be honest, I want to drink so bad.
By the second day, he comes down with a bad cold and feels completely terrible. He does not look or sound like the same person we saw at the beginning of the video. Watch this part and tell me if you agree.
Okay, we're about 3 hours away now. I honestly just want to drink something.
By hour 46, he feels like he might be in serious trouble, but he refuses to give up this far in. A friend makes him book a doctor's appointment, and JMX tries to finish the last 2 hours of the challenge under medical supervision. The doctors eventually force him to take in fluids through a needle before the 48 hours are up. JMX thinks that being given fluids through a needle does not count as breaking the challenge. Either way, I'm glad he experienced no long-lasting effects from this experiment. YouTuber Hidden Treasures recently moved into a new home. Little did he know what he'd find inside. He leads viewers down a hallway to a dark closet, and behind a lower shelf, there's a panel. The YouTuber says that when he pulled it back, you can kind of see some stairs. Then he leads viewers into the room next door, where there's an adjacent closet. He recalls how he went in there to investigate where the stairs led, but there's just a regular closet in this room, 3 walls and a ceiling. He said he brushed it off and continued to unpack his house. He went to put some Christmas stuff in the attic. This is where it gets interesting, he said. Once he got up to the attic, he decided to investigate if those stairs led somewhere, and in fact, they did. They led to a secret room. After tearing a wall down, this YouTuber found a whole other room in the otherwise unfinished attic. This room had wallpaper, electricity, short ceilings, a closet area, a sliding door, and a mirror on the wall. He filmed the staircase from the other side, allowing viewers to see that whoever hid this room simply framed the wall in to block the staircase and access to the secret room. This is only a 1-story house, he says. You can't tell from outside that this is up here. So the question is, why was this room hidden? What was the previous owner trying to keep secret? Or who?
Oh my god, this is so gross. I'm trying to look it up everywhere and I really can't identify it because it looks so weird and different.
A YouTuber named Supa Tanks has a creepy unwelcomed guest in her aquarium and needs our help figuring out what it is. Someone commented that this looks like a highly toxic centipede that fell in, but Supa Tank thinks that this might be an aquatic-based life form responsible for eating her shrimp. I agree with the giant insect theory because of its many legs and cylinder-shaped body, but maybe it's an exotic parasite or something even worse. Let's help solve this mystery and put her mind at ease with a correct answer. A woman uses Snapchat to confront a ghost who has been haunting her house for 8 years.
Are you there? Oh, there you are.
I find it interesting that the ghost disappears when she lets out a startled gasp. almost as if the ghost is anxious too.
Don't be afraid, come out.
The ghost appears whenever she says hi.
I'm a little frightened at the moment. I didn't expect this to work. Hi.
Then again, this kind of looks like a smile, so maybe it's just the Snapchat app glitching out and not a paranormal sighting after all. Who's hiding behind this mirror? This short clip posted by TikToker Sion Wick prompts that question. Watch it snap this Pokemon card up. The TikToker writes, "We're waiting for it to trade us back." In the comments, Reed Hart points out the black fingers at the mirror's edge at the beginning of the clip. Take another look. They look more like spider legs than fingers to me, but if that's the case, this guy's got a mad strong spider on his hands. This New Orleans restaurant called Tableau's is thought to be haunted by a ghost who will punish you for what it perceives as any bad beverage selections. Here a waiter is preparing the room for a private party and has finished stocking the refreshments when coincidentally, the bottles all fly off the shelf and land in the exact area he had just finished sweeping. 3 separate comments in this video further verify that this restaurant is quite haunted. One person said the window in this very same room unlatched itself, another said the fire alarm went off on its own, and a third person said they are never going there again because the spirit was staring at them. These comments, combined with this video evidence, is enough to build a strong case for the paranormal in my opinion, but let me know what you think. YouTuber Donna Aries has a roommate that she cannot see. Let's take a look at this mischievous poltergeist in action.
Just come in, just heard something, so just grabbed my iPad to see if I see anything, and I'm sure I saw the cup move, so I've just grabbed me. There you go, again.
Donna does a good job of reassuring viewers that this is no gimmick.
Under there, that's just a bracket from an old drawer that used to be there. There's nothing in the cupboard, it's just cutlery and stuff. Nothing under there apart from pots and pans, there's no magnets.
Even if the surface was wet, the way it's moving is not how an object would move across a wet surface.
Underneath, there's nothing, it's just an old metal cup.
And then this happens.
Oh my gosh. The surface isn't wet or anything, it's all dry. So there's no reason for it to be moving. And it's moving again.
The only thing I can think of to debunk this is the nearby stove. If it's an induction stove, then it uses magnetic fields to generate heat. It would follow that a metal cup nearby would be drawn if the field is strong enough, but that's just a theory, and the way the cup moves is too erratic. Do you have any ideas? A man named Donald Jester uploaded this ghost video from 2003. Nothing is by this table, and then for an instant there appears to be what Donald refers to as a ghost girl. I don't necessarily agree that there is enough detail to tell if this was a ghost or not, let alone if it was a girl, but there is something there. Since this video was taken in December and the front door is open, I guess it could be cold enough to be someone's breath or something else from outside. Hina Tahir and her sister are camping in New Jersey's Double Trouble State Park when they notice a strange woman who is half submerged in a local lake. Her clothes are all white, and she has a serious expression on her face as she sways in place. To this very day, the two girls aren't sure if what they recorded was a live person or a ghost. If it was a person, then I have absolutely no idea why they would be in the water, while fully clothed. And if it was a ghost, then maybe her body is lurking in the shadow waters below. Whatever the case may be, Hina and her sister decide to leave the woman in peace and dare not go any closer. Om is a popular YouTuber from Delhi, India, who for 2 years has been steadily growing his channel Om Vlogs. At first, he would do normal things like go to a museum or an amusement park, but about a year ago, he started to get into ghost hunting. Now, he goes on ghost hunting explorations all the time, and they are really good. Delhi has a population of about 30 million people, so we are talking about a single city with as many people as the whole state of Texas, which means plenty of places to explore and plenty of ghosts to be found. So recently, Om Vlogs went to a building that was so cursed he wouldn't say the name of it or where it was, only that it was a restaurant in his hometown where something horrendous happened that made them close down and never reopen. On May 13th of 2020, they visit it for the first time, or at least try to. They don't get far because a presence guarding the area won't let them go inside. They stay at what they mistake for a safe distance and peer in. There's a light that's orange here at 8 minutes and 9 seconds coming from an otherwise dark room. They don't see anything else and chance a closer look. Om is talking more about the place when a mysterious shadow descends the wall at 12 minutes and 23 seconds. A minute later, they learn beyond a doubt that something is inside. His friend is standing next to him, so it's not him. They dare not enter, but they stick around for a bit longer. At 15 minutes and 22 seconds, a single pixel goes white while recording a room on the second floor. When they zoom out, the light mysteriously goes away, but not before more black shapes pass over it. By now, it's getting late, so Om is wrapping up the video when he senses something watching him and points out a shadow figure that only he can see in person. It doesn't show up on camera, at least not that I can see, but you should remember this area for later because things are about to ramp up. Apparently whatever is in there is not happy to see them again when they return a few weeks later. This time a white-robed figure with a demonic head and 2 horns leans on the brick wall as if taunting them to try and go in, which they don't notice and proceed to do. They shine their light into a blown-out window and eyes waverly reflect at 7 minutes and 5 seconds. The restaurant is obviously no longer taking reservations. They stand and brace themselves for whatever comes next, and when nothing happens, they decide to explore a few rooms before returning to the main area. As they think about whether to leave or not, a terrible feeling washes over them, and their camera goes out of focus like something is near, and it is. Om puts his hand up to shield the group from something they can't see, but we can. At 10 minutes and 58 seconds, it's coincidental standing in the exact same place where Om thought he saw something the first time. The building becomes more displeased with each passing moment. But when they go into the room to leave, its guardian is absolutely gone. I guess it knew they were leaving and letting them pass without harm. And I think I heard a fire alarm at 11 minutes and 18 seconds, even though the place clearly doesn't have one. I suspect it once burnt down. And what you heard was paranormal residual energy from the event. Om never does reveal the location, but there is a comment left by someone who thought they recognized the location, and I thought this was interesting. If someone could please confirm that this location is on the Cardinal Bypass Road in Delhi, that would be helpful, and tell us anything else you know about its haunted history. This video will definitely creep you out if you like chocolate peanut butter cups. For some reason, this one seems to have some extra ingredients that I'm pretty sure aren't supposed to be there. Dozens of worms of all different sizes weave in and out of the chocolatey layer. Some of them are so small that they look like specks of peanut butter until they move. I'm not sure how they got in there, but this candy looks pretty old, and it's probably what happens past the expiration date. So I'm not exactly sure it's the manufacturer's fault, but still, if this had happened once, it has probably happened many times before, and maybe somebody else didn't look as closely before taking a bite. The Sorrel Weed House is said to be one of the most haunted buildings in all of Savannah, Georgia. 2 different women have met their end here. One of them named Matilda, who is said to still roam the courtyard in her black dress. While taking a tour of the area, a YouTuber named Billy Smith captures this quick video of a woman fleeing the house wearing an all-black corset. What's weird is how she never actually opens the front door to her left. Instead, she appears out of nowhere to cross the space between two columns and then does emerge from the other side. According to Billy, this figure was heading in the opposite direction of the parking lot, so if they were a staff member, they would have to double around to get to their car eventually. He waited until 1:30 in the morning and saw no one else from the house for the rest of the night, and certainly no other traces of her. A YouTuber named Alien6467 and a friend are heading down a long stretch of country road in Southwood, New York, when an abandoned White House on the side of the road catches their attention. Something feels odd about this house, so they decide to get out and start exploring. The first thing the two of them notice is a room with #vengeance scrawled across the wall in big green letters. Under this word are dozens of bags that inexplainably contain only a single coin. After a bit of searching, they find a loose floor panel nearby and start pulling out more Ziploc bags containing single coins. The strange feeling gets even stronger after this discovery and they decide to leave. When filming the house for one last time, they see that they are no longer alone, nor were they ever to begin with. A mysterious black silhouette watches them from above without sound, but I guess it could just be a prank. I mean, they were just inside of that room. So maybe Alien6467 went up there again and pretended to be a ghost for the final shot. Then again, it could even have been somebody who was squatting in the house. The coins might have been a calling card, each one representing a previous victim. A Redditor named Stalker the Zone seems like he is in a real hurry as he records a wheelchair at the hospital. He is definitely waiting for something to happen, but I get the feeling he doesn't want to get caught by anyone using his phone, so maybe this is his place of work.
Come on.
Just when he is about to give up, the wheelchair comes to life and moves on its own. His vindication gives way to horror when he realizes the wheelchair is turning his way.
See, I no.
I guess someone off screen could be pulling the wheelchair towards them, but my understanding is that wheelchairs are fairly heavy, and any wire that could pull it would also be thick enough to see on video. If you happen upon a site where a sacrificial ritual was performed, run far, far away. YouTube channel, Se Investiga Cazadores de Lendas, was exploring this abandoned place when they came across just such a sight. They enter a room with lifeless animals and a pentagram on the wall. On the ground is a ponytail of hair and candles. There's a burnt animal skull on the wall.
Tudo aconteceu onde tudo acontece. As coisas apareceram aqui. Foi da última vez também que ele apareceu de ponta cabeça aqui na parede.
As they're in this creepy room, they hear a noise. Soon their flashlights start to go haywire, and when the light turns back on, a demon has taken hold of one of them.
Minha lanterna nem quer acender também. Nossa, olha aqui.
Meu Deus! Que é isso, Adriano? Que é isso, cara? Que é essa, velho? Pelo amor de Deus!
Later, they return to the room and see this. Well, it's not clear to me what this demon clown is or what the creature in black wanted from them. One thing is clear, they shouldn't be here. No one is safe in this church of demons. Jody from Hunting the Dead enters this very scary church whose entities are highly active.
Can you knock like you just did a moment ago in the direction where I can find you?
They really do seem like they have something to say.
But I'm gonna say a prayer right now, and if there is something truly demonic here,
that something seems urgent.
Do you mind if I'm here?
He hears a wail in the distance. and things start to spin.
Yo, what? Dude, I'm not losing it. That light just came on and that fan just moved a little bit.
Then things light up. When the demons start to whistle, you know it's time to leave.
Yo.
Jody doesn't heed their warnings, and he pays the price.
If there's anything you want to say, speak into my camera. Something scratched me.
What do you think these demons were trying to communicate? Whatever it is, they got their point across. Casey of a YouTube channel called Surviving Louisiana took up ghost hunting as a hobby some time ago, though lately, ever since he was contacted by a spirit named Seth, his hobby has become a way of life, and not necessarily in a good way. He wakes up to a feeling of paranormal discomfort, so he pulls out 2 pieces of ghost hunting equipment, a program that lets him communicate with spirits, and an EMF meter to measure electricity in the air. He tells Seth to stand in front of the EMF meter, and sure enough, the ghost seems to respond.
You guys make this light up a lot? Oh, good job. Good job. There's a lot of you here, huh?
The EMF meter holds a steady beep like a heartbeat, and the spirit box lets out a sigh. Seth is not afraid to tell Casey how it feels.
Very upset about it. Anger.
I think whatever program Casey's using is real, because he says out loud that Seth is upset, and then it detects Seth saying the word anger in response, or more like growling it. It kind of sounds like he says anger too when you slow down the growl.
Anger.
They try to joke around with Seth, but the spirit is having none of it. Their mirth makes the green bars spike to orange, and their EMF beeps faster than ever. Go away, it writes. Casey thinks it's telling them to put away their spirit equipment, but I'm pretty sure it's ordering them out of their own home. That was on May 20th of 2020. 11 days later, Seth barges into their bedroom late at night for another session of angry EVPs. It says 3 scary words, and notice how the EMF meter beeps excitedly when Casey repeats them.
Anyway, it says can't hear you, and we're trying to figure out if it's threatening us or if it's explaining to us what's happening. We don't deal with threatening ghosts.
Keep in mind, this beeping is coming from a different piece of equipment, the EMF meter, which is on the opposite of the bed. It always seems to beep rapidly before the spirit box speaks.
Are you bad? Or are you good?
I definitely just heard a woman's voice say my baby more clearly than anything else so far. I would probably be out the door or even out the window by now, but I guess after weeks of paranormal activity, Casey and his wife are used to Seth, and so they carry on, and that's when things get morbid fast. They show sympathy to the woman with a missing baby, and that's when Seth comes back through the box to unleash some more messed up phrases.
Well, I'm sorry you're not with them. I'm guessing. Shovel. Getting any money out of this because I'm not. Dispose. Ooh, growling.
My baby, shovel, dispose, growling. Just saying these words out loud creates enough of a picture for me, but then Seth really drives his psychopathic points home with another final phrase.
I've never seen it go that high. Hurts. Do you hurt?
I think he does. Not himself though. Instead, those around him. A YouTuber named Conman165 has a somewhat scary moment on his gaming stream while talking about wrestling. Something he thinks could be a possible ghost sighting caught on webcam.
During the match. Like, you know what I mean? Like, did anybody else just see that?
A small ghost orb moves his way and disappears, and if you look closely, the ghost orb blinks a little before it hits the middle of the door and goes away. I'm not saying that this ghost orb couldn't be dust, I'm just saying that nothing else like it appeared for the rest of the stream, and it's obviously something he's not used to seeing either based on his reaction.
I saw like this white line run and just like fall down back here. That was weird.
Hopefully Conman165 will keep us updated if any other creepy stuff happens. A YouTuber named Nellis is exploring a haunted mansion in Bosnia where many people lost their lives during a dark chapter of their nation's history. Active mines dot the surrounding woods, so they have to head straight inside. One of the first things they see is what they think are belts hanging from the ceiling that people could have looped around their neck, though I think they could have been hooks from hanging lamps.
And there's them belts again. Look up there, there's them belts. Do people hang themselves? There's definitely people here. I think they're sat around there.
We see them again up close for a couple of minutes later, and they aren't belts at all. But I still don't know what they were used for. But wait, forget about the ceiling. Look at what's hanging against the wall. Going back to the first clip I mentioned earlier, it seems it was there all along. A family was reportedly taken from this scary abandoned house, and these ghost hunters are here to investigate. Published by Dark Arts TV in August of 2021, they first come across a photograph of creepy porcelain dolls. They then open the door to a room before heading outside. While outside, they hear an unexplained sound.
So I got a big torch out now. Yo, the car's just banged.
Another happens shortly after, scaring the crew.
This video right. Right now, Kennedy.com for sponsoring this video right.
Back inside, while one of them is waiting for the other near the stairs, the front door opens. Later they hear voices, and it sounds like someone is at the door. When they ask the spirit to show itself, they hear it again.
Can you show yourself?
What's that?
Outside again, they speak to the spirit through the spirit box, and he tells them what he's ready for. They later hear male voices, not through the spirit box, but nearby.
Man's voice here. Two people talking. Yeah, I'm turning this off, mate.
They decide it's time to leave before they get taken to. Jay Duncan is at home with his wife and daughter. When he looks out his door and sees a total stranger in rough shape, the man is having a fast-paced conversation with no one but himself, and he can't hold still for a single second.
He's just out there, man. He just won't go away.
When he finally notices Jay a full minute later, his first move is to immediately try the door. I can only imagine what this intruder would have done next had he gotten inside. Instead, he throws his hands up in exasperation, as if they have no right to keep their front door locked. He barks a series of threats and demands to be let in. I think he basically says he's through playing games with them, whatever that means. They snicker at him through the door until he gives up and gets into a relatively upscale truck to leave. Obviously, if he has a truck, then he also has a warm place to stay, which makes me wonder why he wanted to get into Jay Duncan's home to begin with. I think that maybe this person might have been out of their mind and thought they were outside of their own home. If so, I really hope they don't come back when Jay Duncan is asleep at night and try the same again. A fire erupted at St. Anthony's School in Octono Falls, Wisconsin on February 21st, 2012, damaging the interior beyond recognition. At the time, the school had 42 students. Portions of the exterior of the 55-year-old school were visibly damaged, while a layer of soot and ash coated the attached St. Anthony Church. Father Joel Sember said that the parish was taking the fire very personally. In his words, this is part of their family, it's part of their community, and so they are taking this as if it happened to their home. While the fire was certainly devastating, the school was empty at the time, so at least no one was harmed. Father Sember noted that the fire could have been far more destructive had the fire department not been so efficient. The fire is believed to have been intentional, although it's unclear if they ever found the culprit. Is something living in this underground train station? Posted on the r/ghosts subreddit by Ben Taylor. The scary video shows the behind the scenes nature of the underground at Crewe Station in the UK. As the Redditor and his friend walk through the station, mysterious haunting noises echo through the underground, like a creature is roaring or wailing, like an animal. The roaring repeats over and over. The boys walk through a fenced-in area, and the sound gets louder, but its source isn't any more apparent.
It stopped. Do you not hear it? Stop. Yeah.
The sound repeats and then changes a little, causing the cameraman to turn around and hightail it out of there. It stops for a moment but then continues again as they decide to retreat.
Come on, get out. I'm going because we've got to do tricks anyway.
The Redditor writes, the area was checked for dogs, animals, and even an injured security guard by transport police, as the noise was causing the staff to stay away from the area. No dogs, no humans, no pipes were there for the dog to stick its nose in. A howl down, and security informed us nothing was found the next day, but the noise returned the next night. One Redditor in the comments, Nululus, says it might be a small deer species that's an invasive breed in the UK, called the muntjac deer. Others still think it's an injured dog or a piece of machinery, but the Redditor seems to lean toward the paranormal, as he says other employees have heard strange noises and seen unexplained objects moving. We could make theories all day, but it's only the Redditor and his co-workers who witnessed it in person. So if they're saying it's paranormal, I think that explanation makes the most sense to me. This footage, published by Paranormal World in August of 2019, shows a scenic mountain and forest opposite an overpass. After completing a full 360 to take it all in, the camera falls to the cars whizzing past below before returning to the mountain. This time, the mountain isn't the only thing carving out the sky. A Godzilla-like creature peeks out from behind the mountain. At first, one might mistake it for the mountain itself, but it slowly begins to move, voiding that theory. While many in the comments say this is a good edit, some are more concerned by the man's reaction. YouTuber Dap writes, if there is a Godzilla, you are running, not chewing gum. That's probably true, although other people note that the creature is friendly, so perhaps the cameraman had no need to fear him. Still, seeing a creature the size of a mountain would probably get your heart pumping. Friendly or not. A YouTuber named Xander H takes a group of friends to an asylum that was abandoned long ago. They come across wall after wall of graffiti and begin to wonder if people could still be living in here after all.
What does it say?
They see you.
That's like some anonymous.
Dude, it goes upstairs. Let's go up here. Go.
There's not much to find on the first floor besides lots of written warnings and an overall bad feeling, so they decide to head upstairs. They don't even make it halfway before this happens to them. Something large and heavy stomps down the steps and sends the small group screaming for their lives. They don't get it on tape, but I still think this video is probably real. because each member of the group is clearly on camera when they hear the running footsteps. I think there is a good chance this video is real and that they were chased out, maybe even by something supernatural. Don Brada is checking out the crumbling floors of an abandoned office building while wearing a head cam. It isn't long before he hears what could be a door slam shut in the distance.
I swear I heard somebody.
He unsheaths a blunt instrument for protection and continues looking around. Part of him wants to leave, but there's just one more floor left to cover. Eventually, he comes across a section of the building that has collapsed into a large dark hole. I personally don't see anything, but some people claim to see another person looking back in the darkness. Tell me what you see, if anything. The whole time, Don Brada can't shake the feeling that he's being watched. So he leaves the building before anything can take him by surprise. Who knows what would have happened if he stayed there much longer, or worse still, visited at night. In this lost tape, some young punks are playing around with a brown paper bag, throwing it at each other before they go to plant it on the doorstep of a stranger. Once it's placed there and lit, one of the punks knocks on the door and races away. Well, the old man homeowner opens the door to find it flaming there and stomps it out. It probably didn't seem so funny when the men attempted to prank him for a second time. This time, the old man comes after them and they just manage to escape. But the third time's a charm. When the prank is attempted a third time, the man is waiting for them. He peers down through the curtains of the door window, whips open the door to strike the young guy on the head, and then drags him into the house. When the two others go to investigate, they videotape the front hallway, where the old man is seen leaving into the next room. They then head around the outside of the house and into the backyard. That's where they meet their maker. No other information on what happened next could be found. This footage was taken in 1997, a year filled with strange sightings of a mysterious beast lurking deep in the woods of Emerson, Missouri. One day, a wildlife warden finds a camera ominously laying in the middle of a nature trail. He checks the footage and is stunned by what he finds. The footage was apparently taken by a pair of hunters. The two of them are walking through the woods when an evil-looking transparent figure suddenly approaches.
Do you see that? Over there, look, over there. Do you see that?
What the hell?
Wait, that was it again, right there.
The see-through creature looks small and menacing as it glides across the forest floor without so much as a sound. They lose track of the creature for a bit and then find it again. This time, the camera zooms in for a better look.
Wait.
I don't like this.
You see that? Right there. Look.
Oh my god. That's not an animal. I don't like it.
Okay, fuck it. Go.
The unidentifiable creature sees them and squats down in a low and aggressive posture. It lets out an inhuman shriek that sounds both high-pitched and deep at the same time. The men run deeper into the woods, terrified out of their minds as the thing presumably tracks them like prey. What happens from there is unknown. Hopefully, they make it out of the woods alive, but in the decades since, no one has ever come forward to claim the video as their own. Chelsea Luna and her friend James go ghost hunting in an old haunted tunnel from the 1920s. This creepy shadow figure at 18 minutes and 7 seconds is what they find. Everyone says that this is a real ghost sighting, but I'm pretty sure this alleged apparition is simply Chelsea's finger while pointing at something. You can kind of see the rest of her hand when you look close, a split second before it happens. So I think this scary ghost sighting is an accident and not real. Mike Tuttle and his friend Hunter are going to an abandoned trailer in the middle of the woods at 3 a.m. with a Ouija board to do a paranormal experiment. The creepy forest setting has them both nervous before they even begin.
Alright, put your hands on. Let's go. You're sketched out. Oh yeah, me too. Alright, ready?
Almost immediately, the evil demon known as Zozo makes his presence known by repeatedly spelling out its name. Mike and Hunter quickly try to move the pointer to goodbye, but it switches to no instead. They are frantically trying to figure out how else they can end this session and make the mistake of taking their hands off of the pointer too soon. That's when something happens to Hunter in particular.
What the dude? Stop f***ing with me. Dude, we're in the middle of nowhere. I gotta go get help, dude. What the
Hunter eventually wakes up with no recollection of what just happened. He thinks he just got here, so Mike shows him the Ouija board and the video to convince him otherwise. It's unclear whether Hunter was possessed or if he just passed out from fear, but both of their reactions seem real, so I doubt this is fake. Let me know if you think this was a prank, or if something really happened to them that night at 3 a.m. YouTuber Chuck's Paranormal Adventures posted this video in 2016 of the family dog Emily. In the description of the video, Chuck notes that Emily often stays in the kitchen, waiting for scraps of food without a worry in the world. But some days, she avoids some areas of the kitchen or won't even come in. Then, in Chuck's own words, on September 12th, as I sat down to have a snack in the kitchen, the dog was having one of those skittish moments, and I had my phone nearby so I could record it. Since I am a paranormal investigator, from time to time, we've had visitors in the house, not by invite I assure you, I believe looking for help in crossing over, but that is another story for another day. Chuck tosses the dog some food to eat, but Emily won't come near enough to the food to eat it. The chips remain on the floor, but Emily, looking around a chair, refuses to get them. However, when Chuck puts some chips in the dog's bowl, Emily eats them all up in a second. So it's clear that the dog loves chips. What's not so clear is why she's too afraid to go and get the ones set out for her on the floor as a special treat. Once she's finished the chips in the bowl, she starts walking towards those on the floor. She comes very near them, but then, as if frightened by something, backs away. She goes back to her dog bowl to see if there are any more, and then looks back at the floor chips, and then she backs away further. She even goes around to another door to the dining room and attempts to approach on the other side of the chips, but she can't convince herself to go anywhere near them. She sits in the hallway and re-enters through the other side. Then, as the owner approaches the very spot the dog won't approach, the phone's camera shuts off. Coincidence? Chuck wonders. Maybe, maybe not. The following day, Chuck records Emily visiting the same spot she'd avoided the day previously. She is no longer afraid to eat the chips there.
Same spot as yesterday. Okay, paused it a second to get some chips. And now there's the spot that was yesterday. I'm going to put the chips down and see, there's the dog in the spot where she refused to go to yesterday, having the little chips.
So what's going on? Chuck wonders if the spirit of an old pet was guarding the chips, as Emily used to approach their old beagle in this same cautious manner. They also sometimes hear a dog collar clank in the middle of the night, which couldn't be Emily's since they remove it before bedtime. Whatever the case, here's hoping the spirit isn't something much more sinister. Is your child seeing things, or is there something to her visions? Posted by Colin71514 to the Chills Narrator subreddit. This story and subsequent video will send chills down your spine. The Redditor explains that her story begins in December of 2018. The couple had bought their 4.5-year-old daughter a secondhand baby doll. Things were pretty normal until they weren't. After about 2 weeks, Colin's daughter started breaking things for no reason, thinking it was just a phase. The parents didn't worry too much about it. The daughter then started wanting to sleep in their room, saying a little girl kept waking her up at 3 in the morning. This went on for 2 months until her father got an uneasy feeling about the doll and decided to throw it in a dumpster far away. This brings us to the video in question. The daughter is seen in the room playing on her table on the bed. She moves off the bed shouting for her dad, then looks up at the window beyond and starts to scream. The Redditor says her daughter claims she saw an old woman in the window. Exterior cameras didn't capture anything near their home. Considering the Redditor herself and her husband experienced odd things in this home as well, perhaps this is more than just a child's imagination. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.